friends. This is William with Believe Unlimited. I believe I will. Today's topic: big events don't just happen. So when we experience those huge events, the big fight or the turmoil, the frustration, the anger, when everything seems to go wrong, those big events, they never just happen as a big event. There's always those little, small, incremental events that build into that big event. I was reminded of this when my son was here to visit and we were talking and about an actual major event in our lives, and his perspective on it was a huge event in the life and in his life, and it was during a birthday party for him, and that event that happened was, in his perception, the start of the end of our his parents, my relationship. And it was curious to see through his eyes and understand what he had experienced. That event really had nothing to do with the eventual breakdown of the relationship. It had very little emphasis on it, but he experienced that one event as a huge turning point in the relationship. And we dialogued through it, and I explained how that was actually just a blow up of many little events that were currently going on, certain things that were happening and going on, and trouble with everything from just happening through the experiences. There was many events, certain little things that were building into this big event that, from his perspective, was a complete point that he could point to and say, that's when everything went to hell in a handbasket. And it was so curious to look at it from his perception and see that he thought that was a major turning point. Even though it was a big event, it wasn't the turning point in all of the experiences. So when we have a major event, we have to acknowledge that it wasn't that major of an event. There was many things that led up to it, and little experiences, little events that precluded all of the situation that came up. And that's what the experience was all of the small events became a big event because I couldn't handle anymore. I was at overwhelm point. And there was so much. I was at my whelm point, and it just was overwhelmed, and everything happened in that one moment. And ultimately, it was a small part of the whole that was happening. So when we have these major events in our life, even if you look at your same situation in your car, this isn't working and that's not working and this isn't working, and you got a little free play in the wheel, and you should have got the oil changed, and there's all these little events, and then all of a sudden you break down on the side of the road, and it's a major event. It's not, the major event was not caused by a major event. It was caused by many little events that were not checked, that were not addressed. So when we have little events in life, if we can catch those and address them, they're easier to to take little bites and work through each event than to push it aside and let it build until it's a big event. And that's one of the tricks of life. And when you can master the little events, the big events will become fewer and fewer. And life is always about events and happenings. So we'll always have the big events in certain situations. And the little events leading up to it, if they're taken care of and we have a big event, it makes the big event less impactful and it doesn't necessarily shift things as bad. So that's little events build into big events. So I know you're awesome. So you stay awesome.